Hello, welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be talking about JavaScript strings and numbers. So before we proceed, what are strings? Strings are simply characters written inside quotes. For example, I have something like this. Let's string equals hello. So automatically, if I type string, automatically get hello. So you see, this is a character, but it's written what inside a quote. So this is a string. This is how you can identify string in JavaScript. So the other type of string or method of string, so there's one we call template retrans or template string. So they are the ones the same character, but they are written or they are enclosed inside what backtick. So we have something like this. For example, I have let's example let example equals then backtick. I have something like this. So automatically when I have my example, I have this. So you see, both are string. So the difference is that this one is just normal quotes, which can be single or double quotes, but this one is enclosed inside what? A backtick, right? Now let's proceed to different method of strings we have as the one we call the let's start from afresh the at strings. For example, I have let me initialize my string. Let's say let name equals university. Must put into string university. All right, so here if I have my name, I can say university, right? So now I have what we call the at string. So here it accepts a value, that is a number. So what this one is doing is that it's tracing the index number of what the um the string, the index number of the string. For example, if I say index number of 4, so you see is e. So if we should count it, you see from here we have 0, we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4. So the same thing if I say name dot index number of sorry name dot at let's say I want index number of 2, it automatically give me I, because as we all know, string ranges from what 0, that the array is 0 to infinity or to wherever it stops. So the next one on the line is what we call the character at. That is something like this. So let's say name dot character at. So it's almost the same thing with this is of that of art. So it's telling you which index of a particular value are you talking of. So if I say I want the index of 6, so index of 6, the character there is what x, aligning with the value of her name I have here. So if I say name dot character at, that means of this character at. So you have character at index number of what 8, I have t, and so on and so forth. So the next one we have is what we call the name dot character code at this. So but in this one is now different. So in this example of string method, we talk about what we call the async code. The async code is a acronym for what? American Standard Code for Information Interchange. That is a character encoding that standardizes how a value or how your computer assign values or represent a text. So they assign a unique numerical values to letters. So now here, you see if I have at character at, let's say index of 4, you see, you're seeing it as 101. Index of 4 in my string, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You see? So if you can remember when we do something like this, so the index of 4 is A, but that of at character code at is returning it as what? A particular number that the computer represent your text with. So I can decide to have name dot, let's say, character code at, you see, is requesting something, a parameter here, which is an index. So I can decide to say that of 2, and you see I'm seeing 105. So this is all about this character code as the make use of the async word function. So this is how it works for this. So the next one we have is the that of substring. We have name dot substring, something like this. So here you see is requesting two things, which is start and end, telling you where the index of where should we start and where should we end. So if I say start at index of number 2 and end at index of what? 4. So you see what it does. So it will actually start from index 2 and end in index 4. Let's count. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now it's starting at index 2, which is what? 0, 1, 2, which is I, and then stopping at index 4. But then if you notice, the value or the letters for the index 4 is not shown. So that's how it works. So it will start from that particular index that you requested and then end in a particular index, but then will not show the value of that index. So I can come and say name dot substring. I want you to start at index, let's say index 0, that is the first letter, and then end at index 3. Automatically, what I will see is uni, you see? So because what I'm supposed to see is 0, 1, 2, 3, supposed to be V. So, but then stopping at index 3 means that it will not add the value of that index 3. Rather, it will add the one next to, I mean, the one before it. So that's why you are seeing uni instead of UNIV. So you not see only UNI. So that's how the substring works. So do you have another one? Let's say name dot sub this. So the difference between these two now is, remember, the parameter this one is was accepting is what the start, that is that number from start and then that of end. But when it comes to this substring, so it's different. So it's telling you from where do you want to start from and then what is the length. So you can see from and then the length. So here I can decide to say, okay, I want to start at index what 2, and then the length I want it to span through, let's say 4. So automatically you see what will happen. This is what will happen. So counting this from our normal string we have. So we have 0, 1, 2. You see, we start at number 2. That's why we are seeing our I here. So we're starting at number 2. Then what is the length? I want it to span to 4. So we're now counting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see, so it will start at this 2 and count to 4. That's 1, this 2. That is the index of 2, which is I, and then count 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why you see IVER here. So now for this substring, that is the str. So if you start at any index, it is expecting which length. How do you want to span through it? So now you want it to start at index 1 and span to index, sorry, start at index 2 and then span to 4. So now counting in the index 2 is I, and then spanning to 4 means counting from I, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it stops at what? R. So that's why you see IVER here. So that's how this one works. So we have another one which we called what? The split method. Or before I even dive into split method, let's first talk about the yes, the split method. So split method converts your it converts your a string into what? An array. So something like split. So I can say name dot split. So here you see it's already in array form. So you see the function I've already make it to be an array form. You can see my value here. Then if I come and put something like this, so you see it has split it individually, making each index to stand alone on their own. You can see that of u, you can see that of u, that of n, I, v, and so on and so forth. So if I give space between the column, that is the quote, you see how it is unite all of them to what? One. So that's how split works. So split automatically separates your it separates your this thing into what? Array. You separate your string into array. So moving ahead, we have another one which we call what? The index of. So you have my name dot index of. Now, in this place, remember all these methods, this character format we'll be using is accepting the word, the index number of a particular what, for a particular string. But now in this case, we are going to add the string. So it's now searching for what? The string. So now I can have index of, I want index of what? Remember here, I'm making reference to this my string university. So I can say index of n. Automatically I see that index of n is 1, right? I can decide to say name dot index of, let's say index of, and then my quote, let's say index of I, and I get index of I to be what? 2. But then there's another method that we known as in last index of. So how this one does is that it looks through your array and check where any string appears twice. So where the index of selects the first string, then the last index of select the last string. For example, still in this my array, which is on this my string, which is university. So if I say index of, that is name, as I have there before, name dot index of I. If you're observant, you notice that I appeared twice here, right? So if I use index of I, automatically it will show me the index of I as what? 2, right? Yes, because if you calculate it, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. Then if I now go with last index of, that is name dot last index of. So automatically what I'm doing here is I'm trying to select the last, that is what we got. The last index means how many times does it occur. Select the last letter, right? Yes, select the last letter of the number of times the particular array occurs. So now I have in last index of I. So here, instead of me getting 2, now I'm not getting 7, because if you come here, the last index of this particular I is what? 7. If you count it, to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and what? 7. So that's why you see the last. So the difference between the two is that both of them is used for a particular string, but then index of selects the first letter that appear in the string, while last index of select the what? The last letter. So that is last letter where the string appears multiple times on a particular word. So now the last but not the least is what we know as what? The trim. The trim method used to what? Cut out some spaces, that is, cut out some white spaces. So for example, I may have something like let test equals, let's say, something, and then be like about, you see, or let me change it to something meaningful. I can have something like email. So automatically when I type my text, you see I have space. So if I want to cut out this white space, I will make use of what? Trim. So if I say text dot what? Trim, text dot trim, you see, automatically my email, the white space I've cut off. So I'm not getting my email as a what? A single array. So that's all about string. Let's dive into numbers. So now when we talk of numbers, we talk of many other things. We have, let's say, let x equals what? 7, right? So if I want to know the type of this, I can use something like type of type of s. So you see, it gives me what? A number, right? So I can decide to say let y equals, let's say, in a quote, I have 5. So I can start to say, okay, let me know the type of y. Type of y, you see, it gives me a string. Remember, a string is something that is what? Inside a quote. That is character written inside a quote. So now let's quickly do some little calculation with number type. So I may have something like, let's say, let s equals, let's say, number 10, and then let y equals, let's say, in quotes, 5, right? So I can start to say let z equals x plus y. So automatically, if I click z, so you see what I'm getting. So here now I'm getting 105. Why? Because JavaScript treats string higher than numbers when it makes use of addition. So whenever addition is used between a string and a number, JavaScript try to concatenate the two values. Remember, the operands are what? String and a number, and then the operator is what? Addition, right? You know, the operand are these two things that is being is being added or subtracted or whatever. Then the operator is what? The sign that is in between. So now, seeing the operand are both as a number and a string, and the additional operation that is used, operator, sorry, the additional operator that is used is addition. So JavaScript treats string more than number. So it tends to what? Concatenate the number. So that's why we are seeing 105 inside what? A quote, because the number have a higher specificity than, sorry, because the string has a higher specificity than what? The number. But then that is different when we make use of other operators such as minus. So I can decide to say let z, or let's say let w equals x minus y. So when I say w, you see, now remember the two operands still remain a string and a number. But then now the operator changes into what? Subtraction. Now anything outside addition, the number have a higher specificity. So JavaScript now treat the number with higher specificity than what? The string. So that's why you see, once the operator is minus, JavaScript tend to what? Like to act both of them as what? Number. So JavaScript will treat the both operand as what? Number. That's why you see JavaScript will be able to minus or to subtract the value of this string from what? This 10. So that's why we are seeing 5. The same thing is applicable to division and multiplication. So for example, I have let's say h equals x multiplied by y. Remember, the two operands still remain a string and what? A value, that is a number. But then JavaScript will try to treat both of them as what? Numbers. So now if I try to access the value of my h, so you can see 50. Remember, the two operands still maintain what? 10 and what? String of 5. So but then JavaScript, seeing the operator there as multiplication, we treat both of them as what? Numbers. So that's why we see the value of h as what? 50, right? Now, the same thing is applicable to our division. Maybe I have something like u equals x, sorry, u equals x slash y. So what is the value of u? So you see it's 2. So now he's now treating them as what? Number, despite that one of the operands is what? A string. So that's how JavaScript works. between two operands, one being a string, another one being a number. So once the operator is addition, it will treat both of them as what? String. That is, the string will have the higher specificity than the numbers. But once the operator is what? Minus, that is subtraction, the two operands will be treated as what? Or will be regarded as what? Numbers. And then once the operator is multiplication, the same thing is applicable. The two will be regarded as numbers, despite that one is a string. And the same thing is applicable to what? Division. So that's how JavaScript treats or works with a string and a number when you talk of what? Operators and the operands between what? In a number. So I hope you find this video helpful. And with this, we have come to the end of this video. See you in the next one.